Today we're going to be talking about Zheng He, one of the great Chinese explorers through history, and someone who's actually quite famous if you go visit China today. This is just going to be a picture of one of his ships model. Isn't that amazing? So if you see this, and know we're talking about Zheng He, we're going to see Zheng He is going to be an admiral for the Chinese. He is going to be sailing, and there's speculation that he really could have gone all around the world. Let's get to it. So his early life, he is born 1371 to a poor family. This family was Muslim. This is going to be important for Zheng He later on. Now, his father is going to die in a military conflict within China. And he is going to be taken prisoner. Maha, that's going to be his birth name. Zheng He is what he's going to be named later on. When he's taken prisoner, he is going to be made a eunuch. So he's going to be captured by the Chinese, made a eunuch, made a slave. As a slave, he is going to go and receive an excellent education. You see, he was made a eunuch so that he could be in the royal court. He can be close to the emperor and his family, and he can serve them. When this happens, even by the age of 10, he's already serving the imperial government, and eventually he gets assigned to the young Prince Zhu Di. Now, Zhu Di will become Emperor Yongli, and Yongli is going to go and see the value and talent and skill in Zheng He, and he is going to give him a fleet to explore the Indian Ocean. And we know for a fact from records that he is going to have China, India, Africa, Arabia trading all together. And as I mentioned earlier, there's speculation that Zheng He is going to visit the west coast of the United States. We're going to see ruins of Treasure Young's, the ship model that we saw earlier was a Treasure Young. We're going to see ruins of those ships in the Caribbean and the west coast of the United States. So there's a lot of compelling evidence that Zheng He probably went to more than just India, Africa, Southeast Asia, and Arabia. So Zheng He is given the title Admiral of the Western Seas. Now let's think about this. We think of China on the east. So if you go east of China, you have the Pacific Ocean, then you wind up going to the west coast of the Americas. So if he's given title Admiral of the Western Seas, that means he's admiral of waters not even bordering China, which that implies that Zheng He is essentially given responsibility, dominion over all of the waters of the earth. And he's going to sail with a humongous fleet, hundreds of ships, and these ships are going to be humongous. We're going to see some comparisons of the ships of the Chinese compared to what the Europeans had. And we're going to see just how gargantuan these Chinese ships are. And one of the things he's going to do is everywhere he goes, he's going to bring back aspects of those cultures and civilizations to China. Things like giraffes from Africa, other animals, creating zoos. He's going to wind up going and creating diplomacy for China as well. He's going to go and visit with foreign leaders, and he's going to wind up having them basically pledge loyalty to China. So the way this worked essentially is Zheng He would sail to your home, and you'd see these massive fleets, all of these ships. It'd be awe-inspiring. And then, going to the leader, he would explain that they needed to pay tribute to China because China during the Ming Dynasty felt they were the largest, most special, most important, best civilization ever. So therefore, you pay tribute to China. Now, the implication here with this giant fleet, if you don't pay tribute to China, there's going to be serious problems. However, Zheng He isn't just going and exercising dominion with an iron fist. He's going and sweetening the pot. if you pay tribute to China, if you kowtow, which a kowtow is bowing down on the ground, so essentially you would put your knees on the ground and you would bow and have your head touch the ground 3 times, you are saying that China is superior. In return, and this is why people are going to do this, you would get gifts from China, you would trade with China, getting all those goods they want. But even more importantly, for many of these civilizations, you'd have the Chinese military on your side. And as we see with this fleet of 30,000 men, 300 ships, yeah, you're going to want them on your side. So this is going to be something that's going to happen throughout Southeast Asia and also all the way to Africa. As I said, I wanted to show you the comparison of the size of the ships. In the rear is one of Zheng He's treasure fleet ships, the treasure yunks, and in front of it we see the minuscule ship that Christopher Columbus. Look at that. The size is incredible. But not only is it significantly longer, the width as well. This treasure yunk could swallow Columbus's ship for breakfast and still be hungry. Here we see another example, which kind of gives you a little bit more to see. See, we have the treasure ship at this angle, so we could just how easily the Dama's ship could fit within the treasure yunk. It's incredible, really, this size. Now, Zheng He is sailing all over. He is eventually going to die, and after his death, we're going to see a change in emperors as well. And the new emperor starts listening to his scholar officials, and they say, you know, we're spending so much money exploring the world. We're spending so much money helping these smaller nations, pledging military support for them. And while we're doing this, we're getting foreign ideas into China. Now, remember, the Ming had just overthrown the Yuan dynasty. And the Yuan, although with the Chinese name, they were the Mongols. So therefore, the court scholars were telling the emperor that this will bring more instances like the Mongol rule again, and it has to stop. Confucian scholars said, why should China learn from these other places? We're China. We're the oldest civilization. We're the smartest civilization. We're the most powerful. We don't need these outside ideas. And this is the sad part. China had the largest fleet in the world by far. I mean, you could just see how one Chinese ship was so much more than any of the European ships. And not only were they larger, but they were just simply more Chinese ships than the other fleets of the world at this time. These fleets traveled the entire world, a lot of scholars believe. Like I said, we have wreckage of Chinese treasure yunks in the Caribbean. That's the east coast of the United States, folks. There's crazy stories about during a census in the 1880s, I believe, how there was a village that we found of people speaking native Chinese. And when they asked them when did they migrate, because many Chinese did migrate to the United States, particularly during the gold rush in the 1840s, 1850s, they said, we've always been here, because they'd been here for generations, generations. People speculate that those Chinese were shipwrecked on the West Coast and they moved there. Well, we have this amazing fleet. It all gets burned at port. The Chinese emperor says, no more will China go out and spend money. No more will China go out and let foreigners influence them. They burn all of the ships. And the vast majority of the records were burned as well. Now, we have now found writings from a few Chinese diaries talking about this. We found writings and statues from different places in the world where Zheng He and his fleet had been. But for so long, this was actually forgotten history because the Chinese emperor did everything he could to erase all of these amazing things the Chinese fleet had done. That's our notes for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Here's just showing the places that we have records of for sure. And as I said, we have so much speculation for where also he has gone. Have a great day.